Hopefully this is working. Alright, Cara, my other camera, I don't know what's wrong with that. So this is the way I'm doing it, very impractical, I know. I've noticed in a lot of the exams that you need to learn about how to rearrange basic formula. Um, like for instance, you know that Pythagoras is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, whatever. But you need to be able to find out the answer if you're trying to work out what a is or what b is, whatever. So we're going to just try and use a really simple formula. A equals b minus c. And a lot of the questions are about whether you can work out not just a, but also c or b. Okay, so this is where it's really useful to learn how to rearrange formula. So let's say, for example, we're trying to work out what c is. What you need to be able to do is think of it in terms of numbers. Like, if this is 1, how would you make this? How would you make this disappear? Easy. You'd subtract. You'd minus 1 away from 1 will give you nothing. So basically, that's what you want to do with a b. So you need to minus b by b. Why do we want to do this? Because we just want c by itself. Okay. So if we minus b, that will give you nothing. So nothing. All you'll be left with is c. But the thing about algebra is that you've got to think about it as a system. Just because you've got the b has to go somewhere else, it has to go, and that b has to reappear somewhere else. You know, it can't just disappear. It has to, it doesn't vanish in thin air. It's got to go somewhere. So that's why whenever you do something on the right-hand side of an expression, you've also got to do the same on the other side. So in this case, if you minus b on this side, you've also got to do the same operation on this side. So in this case, it will be a minus b as well. And because there's no b on that side anymore, it's gone on that side. That's your final expression. So you've isolated c, and to get c, you have to a minus b equals c. Okay. Right. Now we're going to go on to how you do this for other formula. So let's take, for example, use the formula v equals u plus at. And say, for example, you don't want to work out v already. You know that v equals u plus a times t. What happens if you just want to work out what a is? Easy. To get rid of u on this side, all you have to do is minus u by itself, which will take u out. But remember, you've got to do the same on that side, so v minus u. And because there's no u left on this side, you've left with at. Now, you've got to try and separate a from t. How do you do this? It's simple. Like, for example, like if it was like a3, all you'd have to do is divide it by 3, because 3 divided by 3 equals 1. Yeah, which in some terms is nothing. Yeah, it's a 0. Actually, no. Yeah, it's 0. So what you need to do in this, going back to this, so what I'm trying to say is you need to divide at by t, because that will give you t divided by t is 0. Okay, that'll take care of itself. I don't know if that's right, but you know what I mean. So remember what I said about that. Whatever you do on this side, you have to do on this side to balance it. This needs to be balanced. Yeah. So you need to divide that by t. And as this cancels each other out, you're left with v minus u divided by t equals a. So a equals v minus u divided by t. And that's how you rearrange it. Okay. You could also do the same for if you just wanted to work out what u was. How would you do that? Easy, I think. So what you need to do, you need to move a and t over to v. So again, a and t, I would minus a and t. So and do the same over here. At equals u, and that's how you get that. Okay. And on a more complicated thing, you could I use this one. If you get start having cubes, you can have a equals 4x squared minus pi x squared. This one gets a little bit complicated because you have these squared things. So you have to factorize them. That's why factorizing is quite important. So factorizing, what's the greatest common factor? What goes into x and x? X squared. X squared goes into that once, x squared goes into that twice, so x squared is there. Bracket. X squared, so all that's left is 4 minus x squared, all that's left is there. Yep. And sorry, what we're trying to find out is the value of x squared. Okay. So again, x squared times 4 minus pi. You want to get rid of that. You want to you want to get rid of that. So if it's something which is in the brackets, you have to divide it. So it's like 4. So looking 4 divided by itself will leave nothing. Okay, and so you would have got rid of that, but you've got to do the same thing on the other side. Divide 4t, and all you're left with is squared. And then if you want to find just the value of x, okay, right, I hope that makes sense. Basically, the reason why we do rearranging the formula because it's very, very important for basic trigonometry. So we'll just go through this very quickly. Okay, so this is the question that was in your exam paper. As you already know, the most very important thing is SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA. So that's for sine, cos, tan. Opposite over hypotenuse, adjacent over hypotenuse, opposite over adjacent. Okay. So the question in the exam was work out the length of side x. You get 2 marks, one for the correct answer and one for the working out. So we need to label the triangle first. The side opposite the angle is the opposite. Alright, this is the adjacent because that's next to the opposite, next to the angle, sorry. But sometimes, and the hypotenuse is this one. But for me, I always leave the adjacent to last because once I've worked out where the opposite is, I always try to work out where the hypotenuse is. The hypotenuse is always the longest side, which you can tell from almost every triangle which is the longest side by sight. Okay, so we're trying to work out the opposite, and we've got the value for the hypotenuse. So we've got the opposite and the hypotenuse. Opposite and hypotenuse. That's cos would be wrong because it's adjacent hypotenuse. We don't have a value for adjacent. Tan would be wrong because we've got opposite. Yes, that's right, but we don't have the value for adjacent as well. Okay, so it's sine. Let's put this out. Sine 53.2 degrees equals opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, so sine 53.2 degrees, once we put that into the calculator, it comes out as 0.8. And put in the values of opposite hypotenuse. Opposite is x over 29. Now, we need to isolate x. This is where rearranging the formula is very, very important skill to know. So 29 is the fraction of it. So to be able to get that out, you've got to think of it as say 1 over 29. And the way to cancel 29 out is to times it by 29. Okay, and that will cancel it out. 29 times 29. 29 times 29 will give itself its full factor. So you need to times that side by 29. And whatever you do on that side, you've got to do on this side as well. So it's 0 times 29 times 29, both sides. And that will get rid of that, and that, leave that, and this will leave you with x, will leave you with 23.22 centimeters. So x, 23.22 centimeters, 23.22 centimeters. Okay. Question 2. Work out the length of side A. So we know the opposite to the angle is the opposite. We know the longest side in the triangle is hypotenuse, which means this is, that's right, the adjacent. Okay, so duaso ka to a. So what values do we have? Actually, we're trying to work out, we're trying to work out A. So A is the adjacent, so adjacent has to be in there, so it's either going to be cos or this one, because that's what both them in. And the other value is not the opposite, we don't have a value for the opposite, is hypotenuse, so it can only be cos. So cos 31 degrees, sorry about that, equals adjacent over hypotenuse. Cos 31, when you put it in the calculator, is 0.857. Adjacent, you put in the values, A over 16. Again, you've got the same thing. You're going to have to isolate A, and to do that, if you have something divided by 16, the way to get 1 is to times it by 16. Okay, because to times it by 16 is effectively, if you times that by 16, you're doing this. Yeah, which equals 1. If you can get that value, it means you've taken this out of the equation. Okay, so I'm going to times that by 16. That cancels out, but I've got to do the same on this side. Times it by 16. Yeah, which leaves me, that's out. That's A is only left with the value of 13.71 meters. Okay, so that's A equals 13.71. Alright, 2 more to go, thank God. Alright, question 3. Work out the value of x. Alright, let's do our thing. So let's put ka toa again. Alright, that's the opposite, because it's the opposite of the angle. This is the hypotenuse, because it's the longest side of the triangle, and this is the adjacent. Alright, so x, we're trying to work out x, which is the adjacent, which is either going to be that one or that one. And we've got the value of the opposite, which means it's that one, so it's going to be tan. Let's do this. Tan angle of 27 equals op over adjacent. So tan of 27, which I just left actually. I just leave tan 27, it's alright. Tan of 27 equals opposite, which is 8 over x. Okay. Now this one's a little bit different, Cara, because the number is on the top of the fraction here. Now when the number's on the top of the fraction, you don't want to concentrate too much on that one. You want to try and get rid of the x here. Okay, always try and get rid of the one at the bottom. Okay, so same rules apply. X. So x over x equals x, basically. So that x will cancel itself out. So you need to times this by x. Times by x. So remember, try and get the bottom one out. The bottom one out, yeah. Alright, so what you time that by x, so you've got to do the same thing on this side. So tan 27 times x equals 8. Now what you need to do is you need to switch that tan 27 over to this side to leave just x. So what you need to do with that tan 27 is you need to divide tan 27 by itself. So so it looks like this, 27 divided by tan 27 will leave 0. Okay, nothing. So you need to divide that by tan 27. And remember, you need to do the same on the other side. So 8 tan 27. So all we should have is x equals 8 over tan 27. X equals, so you put that through, 8 divided by tan 27 is 15.7 feet, I think, which is or meters. I think this is the thing here, 15.7. Alright, and then the last one. Again, find the value of x, opposite. This is the longest side, so we know that's hypotenuse. So this must be the adjacent. Again, so, ka, to, a. Okay, so we're trying to, what values are? We've got the opposite value, so it means it's either sine or tan, and we're trying to work out the adjacent, so it's tan again. So let's go tan 15 degrees equals opposite over adjacent. Tan 15 degrees equals 10,000 over x. Same as did the previous one, you need to factor x out of this side. So you do that by timesing x, timesing the x fraction by x itself. So times it by x, and you need to do the same this side, times by x, which will leave you 10,000 and tan of 15 times x. And then you need to get tan of 15 on this side to leave x by itself. So you divide tan of 15 by itself to take itself away from this side and remove itself onto that side. And that should leave, and remember, whatever you do on this side, you've got to do on this side. So divide by tan of 15. So you've got x equals 10,000 divided by tan of 15, which should give you 37,320. Alright, hopefully that's come out alright in the video. Yes, thank you very much. Bye bye.